Symposium, thought it'd be a good idea to get some junior members to volunteer, and we got lucky and we got a few. Because we have so many graduates here that there's a decades of difference, and then there's recent ones. So he thought it, and he also went to Salem. So he wanted to have somebody present their experience, their recent experience at Salem Community College. He thought that would be interesting for everyone. So we're gonna have 3 junior members present. There's Jennifer Langill, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that right, Elayne and Erin Austerberry. And again, like I said with all the other presentations, keep your cell phones off or on silent. If you get a call, please step outside the room, take your call, and then come back in. And this is our final presentation for the 2015 Symposium, or technical paper presentation, so I'll give them the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice. Well, I'm Elayne. We are all recent graduates. The Scientific Glass Technology program is pretty various. Each student attends, they have different backgrounds, different goals that they've set for themselves. It's a very wide variety of students that attend the college. And we're kind of going to talk about the common experience throughout, because there is a lot of commonality. We do bond a lot and share a lot of the same struggles as with any school or college that coursework that students attend through. Jennifer Langill is going to discuss the chemistry class. I'm going to go over more of the general program and how it's run, and then Erin's going to go into a little bit of detail about some of the experiments that we do with the Scientific Glass Technology program. So the students are facing, a few hurdles. One of the biggest hurdles is that the Glass Education Center, which you see here, is actually about 20 miles off of the main campus for Salem Community College. It is a pretty small, technical geared college. So in addition to the Glass Education Center being off campus, there are, as it's a junior college, there are limited options as far as housing and things go. A good even count, or possibly majority of the students who attend the program actually come in from out of county and even out of state. We get students as far as the West Coast, southern and northern, over the west side. I actually came up from Florida. We students from all over around coming up to attend the program. So in addition to the limited housing, you'll find that a lot of independent students will choose to live farther away from the campus to compensate for work and housing options that are going to be more suitable for their needs to survive while they're at the school. Find more cost-effective housing because the area it's kind of in a very odd little socioeconomic bubble of New Jersey. This is kind of a few of the winter shots of the surrounding area. There's a lot of farmland out in southern New Jersey, so we get to drive a good amount. I know I lived about 30 minutes away, up to an hour away at some points while I was attending the program. So it's very nice and scenic to drive through all the farmland. There's a lot of farm stands to buy your food at, but it is pretty isolated out there. The facilities have 4 distinct studios. It's about a 10,000 square foot open design building. You'll see the 2 meeting rooms or the 2 classrooms that we use for lecture and things like that. We have the flame working shop, which has, I think, about 36 torches now, somewhere in that range. We have about 4 lathes in the back. There's a hot glass studio that is run off of the methane landfill. So it uses methane gas to fund that, part of a very nice green program that the school has to go through. We like to recycle a lot of that glass. We recently tried to start reclaiming a lot of our borosilicate glass to recycle as well. And then we have the cold shop in the back. The hot shop, the hot shop is open to scientific students as well who want to take art classes, which happens very often. There's 3 glory holes, large furnace, a lot of annealing kilns. We have a garage and a few color pickup ovens. The cold shop in the back has a diamond saw, drill press, there's 2 lapping wheels and 2 belt grinders, and then there's also silicon carbide set up for hand lapping that goes along with the cold working assemblage courses. And the kiln shop is set up. There's actually a burnout area in the back for invested wax plaster molds. There are 4 large, I forget what they're called, 4 large annealers for fusing and slumping and casting. And then they also have materials for stained glass and things like that as well that go along with our program. So Dennis Brining heads up the scientific glass technology program. He's really an invaluable resource. I'm really sad that he's not here, but I was hoping he would be. And then, so in addition to spearheading the program, he also runs a few committees for the program. He does a lot of advocating for student resources. He's really constantly trying to fight for the benefit of the students, and I think that's something that we all appreciate from Dennis. He also helps organize the International Flame Workers Conference that's held at the facility every spring, which is also a great opportunity for students to attend and volunteer. Joe Barker is a volunteer who dedicates a lot of his time throughout the year to the students. He actually helps teach out the daytime classes and is available between classes for a lot of students. I know I try to go in during the day and pick his brain as much as possible. We only get him for about half a year because he likes to coach me, but it's really nice that we can get him for some parts. Yeah, everybody knows that, right? But he also advocates a lot for student resources. He attends, I don't know the exact specifications of what he does, but he definitely sits in on a lot of committees and really helps us out as well. One of the recent improvements we got and petitions that have been going on for quite a while is you'll see these lovely lights in the background of that photo, and that is actually one of the most exciting improvements we've had in a while. It's kind of hard to tell, but in the photo down here with Bob, you can kind of see how dark it is in the back there, and that's what the rest of the studio is without those overhead lights. So while we had the really high the halogen lights up way high on the ceiling, those lower lights have really helps the student work improve and just kind of overall atmosphere, I think, of not being in a dark building. So that was a really great new resource that we've gotten. Again, Bob Russell and Jenn Walker teach the evening classes right now. So we have actually doubled, kind of tripled in our student size in the past couple years. When I first got to Salem, it was there were there's one first year class and 2 second year classes, or vice versa. There was 1 second year class and 2 first year, and when that class moved up, they actually had a lot of students drop out, so went back down to only 1 class. By the time our class of 2015 has gone through, we now are continually having 2 first year classes and 2 second year classes. And from what I hear, there's over a year-long waiting list for students to get into the program as well. So I've heard whispers about expansion of the program, and there's a lot of pros and cons to that, so we'll see what happens. But Bob Russell and Jenn Walker teach those extra classes, and they have it set up right now so that the professors actually stay with their class through both years. The year that we moved up to second year with Bob was the first year that there were 2 second year classes, so it's really awesome that we got to keep him, not necessarily really knowing Dan or what he was going to be about. So now that he's there, he's been doing a really great job. I wish I had a photo. You guys know what Dan looks like, right? So that's also really great. The other program requirements, the general program requirements are still only taught during the daytime, even though we have a new nighttime class to accommodate students who are working and students who are working in glass houses while they're at the school. So that's a little bit of a benefit because it's great that students can have a job in industry while they're attending school. But even if they're not going to be if they're going to be doing a certificate program and not taking the general math and elective class and literature and things like that, they're still limited to what they can take because currently the organic chemistry and the chemistry for glass floors is still only taught during the daytime. So that's kind of a hurdle that a couple of us have had to overcome. If you're working for a glass house, a lot of the times they'll help you accommodate that, but if you have outside work that's during the day, it's definitely a struggle for some students. So the right now, students who are taking full-time coursework, there's a tuition package of about $6,000, kind of put the tuition in perspective. It is a lot less than most colleges that teach a glass program, but most colleges that teach a glass program is a hot glass program. And this is a $6,000 total is kind of assuming that you're doing SGT and not necessarily extra art classes. A lot of what gets built into that are lab fees, access fees, fees that go into paying for the gas and the supplies and equipment. It is really great that since we live in the Delaware Valley and we have a lot of glass houses, a lot of our glassware that's used by the students is donated by the local companies, and it really is invaluable to what we do at Salem. It really keeps us connected with them and really gives us a lot of opportunities to work on pieces of glass that we wouldn't be able, that the school just wouldn't be able to afford. It is a bit of a bummer that if we are to get a large donation from anywhere outside the region, we're very limited as to what we can accept because of the way the budget works and things that are beyond my knowledge as a student. But I do know that sometimes we have to turn down really great opportunities. So if you feel like donating glass to the program, please, we would love it. But we are limited as to what we're allowed to financially take on. So other than that, let's see. So it does kind of impact students' productivity. It's really great that we get a lot of those things, but we are also limited as to what we can do and that sort of thing based on that. We are, like I said, located pretty rurally. This is Alloway. This is Alloway, New Jersey, which is the closest town, arguably, to the Glass Center where we are out by the methane landfill. So we are kind of limited in our resources surrounding food and basic amenities at the college. There's a water fountain in the lobby and there's a little mini fridge if you want to bring lunch. But other than that, that's about it. So there's no cafeteria, there's no vending machines, and when you have students who are working in that hot shop over there, hydration is very key. So unfortunately, Bud's, which is the little kitchen in Alloway, is pretty much that and Wawa are the closest food sources in the area. So students have been petitioning to get vending machines put in with some Gatorade, Powerade, basic things like that. So far, it's still in the works, but we'll see what happens. And other than that, the main campus being about a 20-minute drive back over is very hard for a lot of students who are bound up at the college and back and forth, things like that. But we are in the Delaware Valley section of the ASGS. Thank you, everyone. We do offer a junior scholarship. Our William Thorne is here today for that. And we're very excited that we're able to offer a lot of, that the ASGS does provide a really great resource for us at the college. Outside of that scholarship, we also get, there is a student-run glass club that offers opportunities for students to sell their work, do things like that. And that goes to, I think, local philanthropic events. The International Flame Workers Conference is also held at the school every year, and that's a great opportunity for students to volunteer, to meet great glass blowers, to interact with people that we wouldn't normally have access to. We don't necessarily have a visiting artist program or visiting worker program set up at the college, so this is really a great way for students to meet glass blowers who have been in both the scientific and art industry for a long time and get some really nice positive feedback from the greater glass community. So we have, if you guys have seen, I think they did a presentation last year on the science tree thing. I don't know what it's officially titled. And then Bob and Dennis also get to have presented at the conference as well. So it's nice that there's a good, and it's also a great example of where the art and the science get married in a conference like that. So maybe something for us to all get excited about, a lot of blends like that. We do also get a lot of artistic demos. Amy Lemaire, who you see in the green shirt down here, is one of the artistic professors right now. She's been to college for a couple of years. She and Paul Stanker take an annual trip for the students to go up to Corning, New York every year, which is always great to go and visit the mothership, as it were. And then also led by the instructors, students are taken to surrounding course fabrication shops, chemical companies. I don't remember the name of the Siegfried or something. Siegfried, yeah. Yeah, so we get to go to a chemical company, a quartz fabrication shop, and a few other local scientific glass shops, so students can kind of see where the industry is, where our products are being used, how they're being used. It's really nice for the students to kind of get out of the shop and really see what's going on in the scientific community around them, and understand the fabrication process and application. So the Introduction to Scientific Glass program is the first required course. It offers different types of glassworking and benchworking methods primarily. The first year is pretty much all bench work. We start with basic glass types, because we have students in this class who have never touched glass before, who have never touched a torch before, have no idea. So it definitely starts out at a very basic level. This is how you bend borotube. This is what's different between borosilicate and other types of glass. Pulling points, olives, marinas, side seals, all that general things. The second half of the semester is basic apparatus fabrication. You get into a little bit more advanced ring seals, dewars, Vigoros, and then the application becomes a little bit more complex. There's also an added emphasis on holders and technical skill. So, and then designing the holders that you're going to be using. There is a CAD and technical drawing class that's included in the first year, and then the business and occupational writing. While this is a really great class, there is a little bit of application issues that or course content that kind of needs to be looked at.
Well, keywords usually.
Yeah. So yeah. Advanced Fabrication 1 and 2 as the second year starts over. That's where the real exciting fun stuff starts to happen. Students are introduced to the lathe, work on more complex holders, and a more detailed understanding of airflow. Typically, students are also building apparatus for their concurrent chemistry class that's going to be happening. Even though the program's laid out pretty first, second, third, you kind of mix it up. A lot of students will get all of their general stuff out of the way the first year. That way they can focus solely on scientific and chemistry for the second year and kind of really immerse themselves in what they're doing. Introduction to Business, while is a great step in the right direction, lacks applicable content for us. There's a lot of noise on the basic different types of business and their larger scale and global market. It's a very basic introductory class. It does close with writing a business plan, which is great, but is kind of otherwise irrelevant. More successful class that a lot of us have been thinking about would be kind of a business for entrepreneurs that would be more relevant to students wanting to open their own business. So something that would discuss more marketing, economics, finance, accounting for small businesses, more how to style than this basic overall survey class. And from what I've heard, there are whispers about changing that. We've got some new people coming into the school who are going to be assisting that up there. Cold glass assemblage is also grinding, cutting, and polishing. We have basic organic chemistry that Jenn is going to go and talk about.
So besides the glass classes, for a lot of students, not all of them, the chemistry classes are the favorite classes. It goes hand in hand with your scientific class degree, but obviously if you weren't interested in science, you probably wouldn't have been there in the first place. So we start out, there are 2 classes, 2 semesters of chemistry. As much as I'd like to see more, the course electives they're jam-packed. We just can't fit any more in there. So for now, we start out with, we have two 2 semesters. The first semester is an introduction to basic and organic chemistry, and that's open to all students, whether you're in the glass program or not. So it's really a typical college level course. We go over atomic theory, conversions, nomenclature, stoichiometry. We touch a little on types of reactions, acids and bases. It's pretty much theory only. It's lecture, homework, tests. It's your typical college class. The second semester, however, is organic chemistry for glass blowers, and that's where things seem to get fun for the rest of us. These are only for the glass students. So the teacher really tailors it for the way glass blowers learn. We work with our hands, we're more hands-on type, and so she really focuses a lot more on lab techniques. We get introduced to simple vacuum and fractional distillations. We do more labs. And the coursework is really centered around the glassware. So the first major project, we have 2 major projects in this course. The first one is identifying the glassware. So early on in the semester, we walk into the chemistry lab and she's taking out all of the glassware and put it on the table. There's huge glass everywhere, and they're all labeled with numbers. And what our assignment is for us to go around for each and every station and figure out what the glassware is, identify it, figure out what it's used for, how is it used in applications, and then most importantly, what are the considerations that a glassblower needs to take when constructing that piece of equipment. This gets us to, the first semester was very much about learning how to be able to communicate with chemists. You need to know what they're talking about. This class is more about how to be a glass blower to work for chemists. So in order to do that, you need to know how to construct this stuff, what you need to be thinking about during construction. The last project was really a lot of fun. We break into groups of 2. We try to pair a first-year student and second-year students. First-year students aren't allowed on the lathes, second-year students are. So for a lot of apparatus, we need to work with the lathes. So we usually pair up 2 people, and we identify an experiment, we design the apparatus, make it, use that glassware in and perform the experiment, explain what you're doing to the class, talk about the history of the experiment, talk about what's happening. Hopefully you get a successful experiment. It doesn't happen very often. But, and then afterwards, you kind of quiz your classmates. So we did there were quite a few distillation experiments. We did fractional, there was steam distillation, simple distillation, and some of them worked and some of them didn't. We had, a lot of people didn't take into account how large you make your apparatus has a lot to do with how long your experiment's going to take. So a lot of people made some really big apparatus. We only had 4 hours to distill whatever it was that we were distilling. So for many experiments, it just didn't go anywhere. But there were some that were successful. There were a couple soft slit extractors. One group did a distillation under vacuum. Unfortunately, there was a leak, and that was a good experience for them because they figured out how important that is. So there was large ones, and then some people had like miscommunications with their chemistry partner, with their partner, where they would both make the same piece. And so there was a little of that, but it really did allow the students to see what kinds of things you need to think about when you go to the design phase. So I'm going to hand this over to Erin now. She's going to talk about her specific experiment.
It was successful, quickly, when she was going back. I just extracted distilled eugenol or clove oil from cloves and then tested for the presence of eugenol. Reaction was successful. Like Jennifer was saying, one of the big issues, like when I read up to find out the exact requirements for this reaction, they were talking about doing it in like a 50-liter flask. So you have to scale everything down to make sure you can complete the reaction in the allotted time. Boring, I'm sure, eugenol is a terpene. It's in cloves, it's an analgesic, an anti-cancer, an anti-infective, an antiseptic. So we made it. I actually ran into a problem with my partner because he waited till the last day to do it. All he had left was 14 mil joints. So my condenser didn't fit onto his receiving adapter. We had to borrow one from the lab. Thankfully, they had one that fit. It worked out. Another big issue a lot of people had was that they didn't do their 45-degree angle. Someone would make a piece at 90 degrees, and then the receiving piece would be at 45, so pieces wouldn't fit together, wouldn't be successful. Thankfully, though, ours ended up working out. We extracted it, mixed it with the salt solution, and then rinsed the whole thing with ether, tested it with potassium permanganate, and it reacts with a double bond in the phenol, causing the purple to turn brown, which you see in the bottom right there, which indicates that there was eugenol in the clove oil that we extracted. So it worked, success. But yeah, it was a really fun experiment. It was the first time a lot of people have ever had the opportunity to make glassware and then successfully use it. It's not often we make things and apply it. A lot of people, even at the place I was working at, you ask, oh, what are you making? I'm not really sure what it does. It's nice to actually be making something you're familiar with, how to use it. You can confidently say, yes, I've made that before, and it was a success, it worked. So it definitely was, in my opinion, was the best class that we had at the school. So, yeah. And then that's it. Yeah, these are our 2 graduating classes of 2015.
Does anybody have questions for Elayne or Jennifer or Erin?
I just thought that was quite